What is going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is Monday, April 28th. I'm finally home from Las Vegas, Nevada, and I'm stoked. It's Mailbag Monday, maybe my favorite show of the week. In the words of the great Blues Clues, we've got mail. Or we just got a letter. I think that's what they said. Either way, We've Got Mail was a movie. That was Tom Hanks. Never mind. It's not about the reference. I do apologize in advance if you're trying to watch on Instagram or you have a friend that was. We're struggling to go live on there. We'll get that figured out shortly. But before we do, I got to introduce my co-host for the day. The man, the myth, the legend. A man that was called a workhorse this week by Shad. Because he is one. Big Arch, it's so good to see you again. How are you?
I'm doing good, mate. I don't know about the term workhorse, but I'm just happy to be on these shows and grateful because it's a great platform, Wrestling Republic, to talk about the thing I love in professional wrestling. So I don't see it as being a workhorse, but yeah, it's extremely fun. I think this is only my second Mailbag Monday, actually. It might be my second or third. But I always love Mailbag Mondays. We kind of get some curveball questions from the fans. So yeah, let's get into it.
I love it. Let's get into it. We got some comments out of the gates here, though. David Modge with, if John Cena is able to retire with the belt, they'll just have another world heavyweight that Jay has right now. Yeah, but at the same time, we'll deal with that later. We've also got Mailbag Monday, WR Crew. Yes, 100%. And then numero one Superfly with mail time. It's mail time. Yes. And my guy Clark from Ant, you official. What's going on, Big Ant? Good to have you as always, but let's get into our first topic today here, Arch.
Mm-hmm.
World heavyweight and undisputed champion in 2026 is the question. It's from Green. It's Green Alien BMG. Yeah. If I can get that right. Sorry about that. I had a little contact lens issue there for a second. I was kind of blinking it out and I'm like, Green Alien. Yep. We've got it. But who do you think will walk out as the world heavyweight and undisputed champion in the year 2026? I'm going to start with you, Archie. Who do you got for those two?
So are we doing both the men's and the women's champions?
I absolutely thought that was the question for sure.
Yeah. All right, we'll do both men's and women's. So for the men's, I don't think there's too many candidates for the men's. I think for the World Heavyweight Championship, I've got a feeling that in 2026 it'll be Seth Rollins walking in to 2026 with the World Heavyweight Championship. I think this kind of new faction that he's created with Paul Heyman, with Bron Breakker, and whoever might join them, I feel like this is going to catapult him back to the World Heavyweight Championship. And it really should do, because the last time the World Heavyweight Championship was any sort of relevance was maybe feeling closer to on the level of the WWE Championship was when Seth was holding it. Since then, it hasn't really felt as prestigious as the WWE Championship, and I think Seth and his faction can really help with that. My question is, will they pull the trigger as early as WrestleMania 42 to do Seth versus Bron Breakker and do a kind of Triple H sort of versus Batista kind of story there? But that's for another day. And for the Undisputed Championship, this kind of goes in to our last topic. So I'm just going to kind of say the name and I'll kind of go into it more in the last topic. But I feel like it's going to be Cody Rhodes that walks into 2026 as Undisputed Champion again. Some people might not like that, but I've seen a really cool idea that one of our fans posted that I'm going to talk about on our last topic about that. And for the women, I feel like the Undisputed Women's WWE Champion, I think it's going to be Bianca Belair. I've got a feeling that Bianca Belair is going to win the championship. And I can kind of see, because now we know that she's back on SmackDown, I can see her beating Tiffany. And I feel like maybe that's the route they're going to go with for that Bianca versus Rhea Ripley match that we all want to see so much. And then for the Women's World Heavyweight Championship, I don't really have an answer because it can kind of flip on the switch. But I'd really like to see Io just have a really long run with the championship. Like let's see her kind of face some of these talented women they've got on the Raw roster in premium live event matches, like Roxanne Perez, Stephanie Vaquer, maybe if she gets called up, Julia, Liv Morgan again potentially. I'd really like to see Io have have a strong run with the World Heavyweight Championship, right into next Mania, really, if they can. But yeah, Seth, Cody, Io, and Bianca is who I think are going to be walking in as champions in 2026.
I'm really glad you said that because I was about to say, I think I have all four: Seth, Io, Bianca, and Cody.
Yeah.
I think that's a really solid 4 picks, Archie, and I
Thank you.
completely understand where you're coming from. We've got a bunch of comments here too. Ant You official with Braun Breaker and Obafemi. That would be fun. It does seem a bit fast though, but I don't hate it.
I don't think it'd be that early, but
at all.
no.
But then we've also got Bianca and Asuka.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
That would be very cool. And then he said, if not Oba and Jacob Fatu, that I think might be more likely.
True.
Or even Breaker and Fatu. I don't know on that one 100%. Numero One Superfly has for the women's in 2026. He's got Roxanne as well as heel Bianca as women's champions. And then Fernando Zayas added Cena and Jacob Fatu will definitely be champs at the end of 2025. I will say, if that's the case, Cena's going to do what he said, though, right?
Yeah.
Or is he? Or is he?
We'll have to get and the last topic. But I really like the Roxanne Perez shout, actually. Maybe, like, I really like the idea of her and Io having a nice kind of multiple months sort of feud for the world title. Maybe kind of it flip-flopping between them. Like, maybe they hot potatoing between them a bit. But I think Roxanne Perez is someone that they need to push straight away into the main event scene. I don't think they need to waste any time in the mid-card scene for Roxanne. She's ready for that spotlight.
I love it. I will give my picks next, though, really quickly. First and foremost, I agree. Bianca world title. That's where I'm going there. 100% on the women's side. As far as the WWE Championship side of that, I've got a little bit of a theory. I'm not exactly sure how we get there. That's the hard part. But I do think Becky Lynch is starting to wind down despite re-signing and her return. Time for a little bit of a swan song run. And I think Becky Lynch will exit this year as champion with the WWE title. Those are my 2 picks on that side. As far as the men are concerned, this is where it gets really interesting. We got Jey Uso currently as the world champion. And then over on the other side, we all know it's John Cena, and he's going away, and he's taking it away. Start with the world title. I think the next world heavyweight champion is Braun Breaker. I think that's coming up almost any minute now. And I think he ends the year as world heavyweight champion when it comes to that. Now, the WWE title's where it gets dicey. That's where it gets dicey. And we're going to address some of this later. So for right now, I'm going to leave it on pause and say John Cena walks out still as the world champion. But I don't really mean it. Put a bookmark in this book, because I've got a different idea myself, my friends. We're going to move on to the next topic, though, because I don't want to spoil some of the other ones, Arch.
That's true.
We're spoiler free over here at WR.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Now, this question was submitted by Just Apart, friend of the show from the fan chat. Absolutely. And that's rank wrestling styles. What are your favorites, essentially? So let's name a few each. I don't think we need a top 5, maybe a top 3 different styles stylistically. Archie, I'll go to you right out of the gates. What is your favorite wrestling style? And I think we can include not just styles, but even the word we're not supposed to say, Mr. Punk, sorry. Maybe favorite moveset as well.
Yeah, right. So when talking about wrestling styles, obviously you've got strong style, British strong style. Those are some of the ones that I really like. I think one that doesn't get enough love is Lucha Libre. I think obviously there's a rich history with Lucha Libre, of course, but when we talk about wrestling in general, it's very high risk, high reward. It's like 10 times more when we're talking about lucha libre. When you're watching companies like CMLL, which we're going to get to in a bit, that like the kind of stuff that these wrestlers do, it's just absolutely mind-boggling. Like, yes, sometimes it doesn't come off, but when it does come off, it just looks like it's they bring out stuff that you will never see anywhere else in wrestling. Which is why I think Lucha Libre needs a lot more love than it's getting. In terms of movesets, sorry, Punk. I probably have to say, I don't know. I do love a good kind of, like a good powerhouse moveset. We talk about people like Jordan Grace. I think you class her as a powerhouse moveset, but she moves like extremely quickly, extremely well. And I love those kind of powerhouses. And a lot of people don't like the kind of slower, methodical matches. I'm someone that actually thinks that when done right, they can be some of the best matches that you see in wrestling. Like Roman Reigns, as an example, when he was in his tribal chief kind of era as champion, he nailed down how to do those slower style matches and more methodical kind of pace matches. And they were, in my opinion, some of the matches I was most invested in professional wrestling as a whole was Roman's matches. Someone else that also does that very well is Gunther as well. So I feel like maybe people might look at those kind of matches and say they're a bit boring when they've got a great story behind it, and when you've got pros like Gunther and Roman Reigns executing it, they can be some of my favorite matches in wrestling to kind of get yourself glued to the screen. But yeah, I don't think Lucha Libre gets enough love, really.
I'm a huge Lucha Libre fan myself, as you
Mm-hmm.
know. Fernando Zayas is here in the comments with Lucha Libre number 1, Strong Style 2, Traditional Style 3. I hear that number 1 Superfly with a bit of a funny question, but are surprise roll-ups considered wrestling style? 97%. That's what she said. I wouldn't call it a style, but it's a part of numerous styles.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that as much as anybody. But to me, when I saw this question, there's only one answer to this one, and it's catch as catch can wrestling. The art that the greatest of all time, the best to ever do this, was taught by the great trainer Jose Lothario, a Mexican luchador in his own right, a practitioner of lucha libre in his own right. He combined catch wrestling with lucha libre style, catch as catch can. Go back and watch tape of the 97 Rumble. Jim Ross, catch as catch can, describing Shawn Michaels' style. That is the best of professional wrestling because it's catch wrestling combined with all of the above. You do get standing holds, ground holds, all of the above, and you get the high flying of lucha libre. Catch as catch can is 100% the answer in my eyes, Archie. And Shawn Michaels was the greatest practitioner of it in his entire career by miles.
Yeah.
It's not even close. And Justin Part, who asked the question himself with 100, yes, sir. I was so stoked to see this one. But yeah, there's so many great wrestlers out there and so many great styles. But I just think Shawn did it the best.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that. I think with me, I kind of love a bit of everything when it comes to wrestling styles. So it's tough to kind of pick a favorite because I kind of watch every kind of wrestling style when I can, anyway. And when they're done to their fullest, any of them can have a case, like to their best. Any of them can have a case to being the best wrestling style, so to say. That's why I love wrestling. It's so diverse and yeah, so many different opinions on
for
this.
lack of a better way to put it, Archie, there's just more than one way to skin a cat, and I couldn't agree more. It's like, and that I think is some of the brilliance of why we're so entertained by professional wrestling, right?
Yeah,
you know, through 2 nights of Mania last week, through the follow-up Raw, the follow-up SmackDown, all this, we've seen all kinds of different styles, and we've seen it on every program in AEW. Triple A being bought by WWE. We're gonna later in the show discuss CMLL. I mean, how often do we get to discuss the 2 best Mexican promotions on the planet? in the same show. It's really an exciting time to be a fan of pro wrestling. We've got some more comments here. Fernando Zaya said HBK became one of the best ever with it. Absolutely. And Just Apart agrees. Yes. Let's keep it rocking and rolling here, though, Arch. And let's talk about Mayu Iwatani. I'll go first on this one, man.
Yeah.
I think this is kind of a no-brainer here. She's got to be going to WWE. I would love to see her appear in AEW or even TNA or something like that, but I think it's too big of a signing. I think it's too big of a deal. This is obviously, in my eyes, a WWE signing. And I also do have to add, because I almost just got ahead of myself, this question was added by Shad Talk Scraps, our very own. Oh, if I was going to leave anybody out, it's good. Shoddy, monster shout out. Sorry about that. No, but I think WWE for sure is the move for Iwatani. And then he also asked about Thekla. With the free agency. I think probably both WWE bound. Maybe start in NXT, but not very long. Sort of a la Julia. That would make a lot of sense to me. But Archie, where is your head at as far as this question is concerned?
So I was going to start with Thekla, because first of all, I'm going to talk about kind of, I'm not a regular watcher of like Stardom or Marigold. Of course, I try and watch it when I can, but it's tough to watch it all. But I keep up to date with it, and I keep up to date with fans' opinions on it. Thekla's an interesting one. It seems like she's somebody that kind of divides opinions amongst fans, and she's not really someone that Stardom fans are kind of mourning the loss over, like mourning her leaving the company. So I think this is quite interesting. I think from what I've seen, there is a lot of potential in her, and it just kind of needs the right place for it to come out. I think AEW, she will kind of get lost in the shuffle a bit. WWE, she might have a better chance of doing that, of kind of showing her potential there in NXT. But then you look at the main roster and you look at how stacked that is. You know, you kind of need someone world class to kind of break into that main roster. And I don't know if, and depending on how well she would do on NXT, I don't know how well, I don't know where she would fit in there. So I think TNA, somewhere like TNA, where they do need to kind of build up their knockouts division a bit more. We saw Masha Slamovich beat Tessa Blanchard last night at Rebellion. So I think Masha Slamovich needs more challenges. Indy Hartwell's obviously just signed there. So I think TNA for Thekla would be the best shout, because if they book her as like a killer in their division, then and she kind of runs through the division all the way up to Masha Slamovich, that could be a kind of a pretty cool match to have. Mayu Iwatani is someone that this one really shocked me, because when I first started learning about Joshi wrestling, Mayu was one of the first names I learned about, because she's one of the in my eyes, I honestly I don't know too much, as I said, so I could be completely wrong saying this, but she's probably one of the most famous Joshi wrestlers on the planet. She's one of the best wrestlers on the planet, and I think it all depends what she wants. I think people aren't taking Marigold into account. She's got a good relationship with a lot of people in that company, and it seems like Marigold are doing some quite good work, but they're not being seen as much because they don't really have that star power that Mayu would bring. So I think Marigold would definitely be a possibility, but if she does want to wrestle in America, I've got to agree. I think WWE over AEW.
Yeah.
Only historically, I think WWE have treated Joshi wrestlers or booked Joshi wrestlers better and have put them on a higher standard on their card. I mean, you look at someone like, granted, WWE have had higher quality Joshi wrestlers come into their company. You've had Io Sky, Asuka, some of the best in the world. But these women are being treated as the elite of the elite in
Top
WWE.
Of the card.
Yeah, and
for lack of a better way to put it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Mayu would be on that, in that bracket. Whether she would start in NXT, I don't know. I wouldn't put it past WWE to put her straight on the main roster. So, but I think Marigold, if she wanted to stay in Japan, I think WWE in America as well. And she's obviously I mean, who doesn't want to see Mayu and Io again in the ring together? Like that's a match that we have to see again.
It's a heck of a matchup. Absolutely. We've got a few comments really quickly here. Fernando Zaya said AEW would be perfect for her, in my opinion. And then just a part added, if Tony Khan is ready to give more TV time to his women's division than AEW, I believe WWE, their division is killing it all brands, mostly NXT. That's another factor, though, is, NXT is pretty stacked roster-wise.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's good to be the big fish in the smaller pond.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Sometimes in life it is. So I do think either is an option. Obviously, you and I both agreed WWE first choice makes a lot of sense considering the history with Joshi Wrestling, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think at this stage, either or is a good choice. No matter where she goes, we all know, at least watching this program, how talented she is. So I do think we're in a good spot. But speaking of being in good spots, Archie, let's talk really quickly about our friends over at Etsy. Download the Etsy app on the App Store or the Google Play Store. Head to the upcoming stream section. You'll be able to see me, Big Ant, you, Takes, Cam, the man, the myth, the legend. And the best part is the app is absolutely free. Once you download it, all you got to do is create a little profile. You join in on the live stream. And if you want to argue with me about my opinions or Big Ant or anybody, you can jump on with audio only or audio and video. Have a conversation. It's one of the coolest things we have going. Go check that out. Once again, it's on the App Store and the Google Play Store. And then make sure you head to the upcoming stream section. But let's keep it rolling on today's program. We had a question submitted by our very own David Sheldon. And that is, with the huge ticket sales for AEW and CMLL's co-promoted shows in Mexico, does this prove a successful partnership for both companies? Archie, I'm going to go to you first because I got strong opinions on this, and I kind of want to hear yours first.
Yeah. So this is a partnership that I think a lot of fans that don't probably know or probably don't know all the information surrounding it. This was a partnership that a lot of fans kind of not scoffed at, but they kind of just they kind of brushed it away. But I think this has been, as David asked, if it's been successful, it has been hugely successful. More so for CMLL, because if you look at CMLL, they're getting exposure for their talent on AEW TV on their A show in Dynamite, and also the ticket sales have made them, or this partnership has probably made them the most successful company in Mexico right now. They're just killing it with ticket sales, and everything beyond that. And I think this has been very successful. I think in AEW's terms, I think for AEW, it has been able to allow them to show some more diverse wrestling styles, as we were talking about earlier. I think it has been good for them. I think it's been a lot more successful for CMLL and that company, and I'm really happy for them. And I think this show, I can't remember what it's called. Is it AEW Grand Slam again, or I can't remember what it's called, but it was.
I believe so.
I think it's going to be a great event. And I love AEW partnering with CMLL like this and giving them this exposure.
I agree, and I think it's been successful for a multitude of reasons. But
yeah,
I'm going to go on a little bit of a diatribe here. So here's the scoop, at least in my eyes. AEW, say what you will about how much you like the product, whether it's like your style or not, has driven this industry in a way we haven't seen in decades. Because guess who partnered with AAA before they were bought? AEW. Featured many wrestlers from that company, as well as CMLL. When is the last time the two biggest Mexican promotions appearing anywhere on United States soil was relevant? Oh, well, when WCW had the cruiserweight division filled with AAA wrestlers. It made Rey Mysterio. Things like this are so good for the industry. History does repeat itself. Nothing about this is negative in any way. both companies being tied to the two major companies in recent months is out of this world for Lucha Libre, which we discussed earlier in the show. I mean, it's incredible to me what's been accomplished, basically based on an arms race of talent, because there's more eyeballs on professional wrestling than there's been in 25 years.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So the answer to the question is absolutely 1000%. This is positive for every party involved. Like, I don't understand how you could humanly find this negative in any way. CMLL is very much televised in Mexico. It is not in the States. It is with AEW.
Yeah.
And that changes the game. It's more eyeballs. It's better. No matter your opinion on the product, this is good for everyone involved. Both sides, too. Back to the AAA thing. Same deal. This is good. Who in the world had Vikingo on their bingo card for a WrestleMania appearance? I guarantee you more of us thought maybe Joe Hendry than anyone thought, who we're going to see is Vikingo. Stop it. Like, this is as good for anything as anything that's happened in a long time. Yes, and I love this comment from Just Apart. Hated or loved it, AEW was a movement and made the industry better. It very much did. Whether you enjoy the product or not, AEW is a very important piece to this equation that we've seen over the last 5+ years. There's no debating that one, I don't think.
I just wanted to say that I think a lot of people say, professional wrestling is incredibly hot right now, which it is. And then they kind of put that down to WWE a lot. I don't think a lot of people give AEW enough credit for helping professional wrestling get as hot as it has.
Yep.
They're a company that just doesn't get enough credit in general from fans and get, I think, unwarranted criticism. I think every company gets unwarranted criticism, but I feel like there's a lot of hate on AEW when all they're doing is just making a different product to what we're used to and giving wrestlers a paycheck. They're an alternative for fans and wrestlers, and
backstage production. It extends the industry.
And they're partnering with companies that might not have as much eyeballs on their product in America. They're allowing these companies like CMLL, like we just talked about, how Lucha Libre doesn't get enough credit and doesn't get enough love, and AEW's helping change that. So I think they need to get more credit in general. AEW.
I agree, and it's funny to me. I think you can separate the two. You can criticize the product, but then also realize the relevance of what they've done for the industry at the same time, right? Two things can be true at once. 100%. This is actually fun. Jack Goodwin just with Punk should win the world title WrestleMania 42. Respect. I don't know. That sounds
that'll come into the last topic of in my thinking. So,
and that's why I wanted to make this move. So the question here was submitted by one Bratty Girl 30. Who should retire John Cena? Wow, I love this one because this could go any direction. Archie, I'm going to start with you out of the gates here.
Yeah.
What direction are we going?
So there's two big options for me, and I'm going to name the option that I'm not leaning towards first, but this is one that I think does need telling because it is very, very intriguing, and it's that in Cena's last match, if it is in Boston, Massachusetts, if he faces CM Punk if he's still a heel and he faces CM Punk for the WWE Championship, and we've just completely flipped the script where it's now Punk, the company man, trying to stop Cena running out of his hometown with the world title, he's trying to stop Cena from ruining the lineage of that title. I just think that's in a money kind of like flip the switch, where it'll just be wild to see Punk, who was in the position Cena was in basically before, just taking away the retirement part, where he tried to leave the company and he gave him a kiss goodbye. I think if we did that, but we flipped it with Cena trying to do that, it would just be insane. And Cena being retired by his wrestling soulmate, in my opinion, Punk is his wrestling soulmate. I think his best rival and wrestling soulmate are two different things. His best rival's Edge. His wrestling soulmate is Punk. Him being retired by Punk would be poetic. But here's the idea I'm leaning towards, and this is a comment that was made in a daily that I was in last week, and I'm trying to remember. I've been trying to remember all day who the person that made the comment is, and I can't remember. I'm so sorry. But this was really interesting, and it's Cody Rhodes that retires John Cena, and a lot of people might not like that idea. But I saw this comment come up, and it says, "What if Cody Rhodes beats Cena in his last match, and they do a double turn, a bit like Brett and Austin?" And I was thinking, what an insane visual that would be. Cody Rhodes turns heel during the match against John Cena in a justified heel turn. What if he locks in the STF on a bloodied Cena with blood pouring down his face, a bit like it was with Austin and Brett when Brett had him in the sharpshooter, and Cena just passes out. In his final match, he passes out. He does what he's always done and never gives up. And it's Cody Rhodes that the fans completely turn on now, because I think a lot of fans are still cheering him but waiting to kind of boo. And you saw his reaction he got in Mania. I was surprised how much boos he was getting. I think if this continues, especially, they need to turn Cody heel. And if they can pull this off, this would be one of the best double turns done in professional wrestling history, where Cena's back to being that babyface and Cody's now fully Homelander. And he's doing the thing that he didn't do in WrestleMania, where he didn't hit Cena with the belt, didn't win with underhanded tactics. And he's just got, I can picture it in my head. Cody locking him in the STF and Cena just passing out, a bloody Cena passing out after being beaten up with the title or whatever. I just think that would be an insane visual. And that double turn, that would probably be one of the best double turns in history. And you can lead that into the WrestleMania 42 main event, which would be Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk, which is a story they've been teasing, but they haven't been told. But it hasn't been told. It needs to be told. And I think that's the best way to do it. I just love that idea.
First off, I got goosebumps when you said it, because it's a great idea. Yeah. I really like it.
Yeah.
I will say, I also thought at the same time, my only caveat here is, so nobody was for sure going away after the match when that happened. Hart or Austin, right?
Right. Yeah. Right.
And I loved the match double turn wise. You also had like a pseudo double turn with Rock and Hogan at WrestleMania 18.
Yeah.
Where the fans, and that created an amazing atmosphere. The atmosphere is great, but the fallout of both of those options really only benefited a singular person in the match.
Right. But then that's fine, because
Archie, but this is where it gets interesting. Then I almost thought, well, wait, if somebody's for sure going away, Screwjob too?
Yeah. Oh.
Screwjob too?
No, that's
you really same deal with Cody.
Yeah.
Screwjob too? And then that Cena has a reason to not be really gone.
Yeah.
Now we can tell a longer story. We do exactly what you've just described.
Yeah.
Screwjob too. I can't leave now.
That's that. My only thing to that is, are they really going to say they're really going to build this as Cena's final match, and then it's not Cena's final match?
Well, if he gets screwed the same way we all reacted, we never got the payoff from Bret Hart against Shawn.
True, but then if fans are going to that event thinking I'm going to be at Cena's final match, and then it's not,
would they actually do that? That's tough. No, you know what? That I didn't think of, because now all of a sudden it's like you owe them.
Yeah, no, of course, but unless they built. So here's the thing: the rumor is, and obviously don't go into rumors too much, but the rumor is obviously Boston, Massachusetts, and it's Saturday night's main event.
Yeah, other than that, he's from Massachusetts. That makes no sense.
Yeah, exactly. So that's interesting. So what if they say it's Cena's final match, but the whole event isn't around Cena's final match? Saturday night's main event, an event where you have adverts in between John Cena, one of the most influential wrestlers of all time's final match.
Right.
See, that's weird, and that's where I think you could be onto something. Actually, if they don't bill it as
Oh,
Cena's
this is
final match,
hilarious. A pay-per-view called Ruthless Aggression.
oh,
That'd be so funny.
that'd be awesome. I
That'd be
love that,
so
actually.
funny. I'd be all over that. Other than I think they want to avoid that, unfortunately.
Yeah. No,
But that is a
yeah,
hilarious comment.
but no, I think if you put it Saturday night's main event in Boston, you don't even need to say this is Cena's final match. Cena can just say this is my final day. He doesn't need to say his final match. Fans can just assume it's his final match. You don't need to advertise it as his final match, if you know what I mean. But if it is Saturday night's main event, I love that idea that he gets screwed out of it and he's like, I can't leave now. And it gives fans one more time to be able to cheer for the Cena we all grew up loving. I think that's amazing. But I just think the double turn, whatever it happens, it does need to happen because Cody's got the most justified heel turn he can possibly ever have right now. Fans are booing for him. You say it's the most easiest thing you can say. A year before, I had all the good guys in the company on having me on their shoulders. You were cheering me for me to finish the story. The whole hashtag We Want Cody movement, and it's not even a year later. You're booing me for a nostalgia act. It's these.
There's a lot to unpack.
Yeah,
when it comes to that.
he can dive into that, and I feel like doing a double turn where Cody just goes full Homelander now. Is it? And
Right.
I just love that. If they did a screw job or whatever, I just love that idea of Cody having Cena in the STF and just having Cena
By the
bloody
way,
Cena.
could you imagine though? Because if it was a screw job this time, it'd have to be Triple H. And with how he's been implicated in it, and that's right. That's kind of where my brain was at. Was like, if Triple H goes out there and goes ring the bell,
yeah,
we're not losing the title.
Yeah, that's. I think you're onto something there. Honestly.
I might be onto something there. That was gonna be my pick, but it's not. I'll also say, if we were indie booking this, wouldn't it just be Charlotte Flair? I'm totally joking. I had to get that one out, but yeah, I think the image of Triple H doing the same thing just to poke at fans would be so great. It would be golden. But to your point, you're going to disappoint some people. You're going to very much disappoint some people.
Yeah, I think there's I think there's a way around it as long as you don't fully advertise it as Cena's final match. So it's not if you made the whole event, if you called the event Cena's final match, fans would justifiably be annoyed. But if it's a Saturday night's main event and they say this could well be Cena's final match or this should be Cena's final match or something like that, and they don't outright say it, then I think you can get away with it then.
Yeah. Okay. Let me give my pick now.
Go on.
Because mine is interesting. I love what you presented there, and I like the idea of the screw job, and I even like the idea of what you mentioned, the passing out, a la Austin and Brett and everything. But for me, the guy we built for 5 years who really carried everything, he built another guy in Cody Rhodes, is the one that deserves to retire John Cena, and that's Roman Reigns. We saw what happened to Roman Reigns. We saw what happened to Roman Reigns this WrestleMania. Doesn't need Paul Heyman to take out a heel Cena. This is what everyone always wanted. And Roman said it best. I'm $1 billion check. And I didn't take that as cocky. I think that's because he knows how good he is. And he knows how hard he can work. And he knows how he can handle a situation like this. To pad the stats that he's already built and leave him as the very face of WWE. Because now there's the debate on the Cody Roman thing, and I don't think it should be.
Yeah.
I prefer longevity to not to discount Cody's run in any way, but the longevity of Roman and what he accomplished with the bloodline over the last 5 years and all of that, I would give him the nod. I think if anyone deserves this, it's Roman. And that's what I would be looking forward to the most. How we get there, I really hadn't planned out. I had more fodder as far as the screw job idea was concerned.
Yeah.
When it comes to that, details wise. But the idea of two super heavyweights, and I don't mean that as in weight, but heavyweight champions, former and current, all of that. You got longest reign of the modern era versus most time won and lost ever.
Yeah.
And we can book something around that. I like Roman for this one, but honestly, I actually really do trust creative on this. I think they're
I
going
do
to
as
do it.
well.
I think they're going to do this right.
One thing with the Roman, I think they 100% will, but I think I trust Triple H. I think throughout his faults, overall he's a very good booker. But just one thing I wanted to say about your Roman Reigns thing, you can still do the screw job idea, and he doesn't have an idea, and he doesn't know he doesn't know that this is the plan. And guess who comes out and rings the bell? But The Rock. If The Rock comes back and if he's still invested in it, that can potentially give us that Roman versus The Rock match that fans have maybe wanted. And maybe The Rock saying, you're being, if Roman's saying this is not how I wanted to win it, and Rock's saying you're being selfish, I brought the title back to the family. This is what we've always wanted. And then it's Roman versus Rock.
My goodness. WWE Writers Room, give us a call. We're on to something. Let us know. I haven't made a resume in years, but I will type one up. And I know Archie's got one.
I've got one.
Yeah,
I've had to make one recently.
You got an old one somewhere, but dude, no, this just got absolutely electric. Heck, we could talk about it for the rest of the day. Let's run through a few more comments. We got Bobby Petito in the building, Maria Graciela Zayas in the building. We've got what's going on from everybody here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Happy Monday, y'all. I'm so happy to be back. On behalf of me and Archie and everyone at WR, we appreciate you tuning in so much. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow, noon Pacific, 3 o'clock in the East, 8 o'clock in the UK, and of course, 9 a.m. for my friends in Hawaii. Have a great rest of your Monday. Enjoy Raw tonight. Thank you for tuning in. We'll talk to y'all soon.